Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Justine with State of Grace Tarot. Today's video is a general week ahead reading. We're coming up on the end of May here in the US. We have Memorial Day this week, and by the time the week wraps up, we'll be in June, which feels a little bit crazy that we're already almost halfway through the year. This is a general reading just to get, the overall feel and energy of the week and kind of lay out some things that maybe we need to do and contemplate. And I've been really enjoying these this week, and I use the readings in my own practice. So hopefully you all enjoy them as well. Today I'm using the Windbell Island Tarot. I do have a walkthrough of this deck on my channel if you want to check that out, which I love this deck, and it felt like a good summary moving into the hotter time of the year, even though here in Houston it's already been very hot. But yeah, I just really thought that this was the deck for the week. And so let me get this shuffled up and we'll get started on the reading. So for the overall energy this week, what are we dealing with? Let's see. We have the Three of Pentacles. What do we need to know? Temperance. Interesting. What do we need to do? The Devil. What do we need to release this week? The Sun. Alrighty. And what do we need to contemplate? Oh, okay. The Chariot. Very nice. So it's so interesting to me that there's so many, major arcana cards here for the week, but then, the overall energy is the Three of Pentacles, which is, a very mundane, day-to-day type energy in the minor arcana. So, this week there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. We do have Memorial Day. Hopefully people have that day off. But it seems like it's going to be a busy week full of people, but the overall energy is on a grander life scale. It feels like it's going to be a very meaningful week. So for the Three of Pentacles, this is typically something that's developing, maybe some collaboration. Maybe there's something at work that's growing, or a project outside of work that you really need to rely on other people to help you out with. And maybe this week, as we're doing some big work on a more spiritual, grander level, we have to rely on those around us a little bit more and collaborate. Maybe there's a discussion that can take place about the bigger things in life. I want to clarify this one. Okay, paradox. That helps a lot. I think this is just pointing it out that, the minor versus the major. It will feel like a very mundane week, but there's, big energies going on. I do find it interesting, we have temperance and what we need to know. There will be a harmony and a balancing, which I really feel speaks to what we need to do here in the devil and what we need to release here in the sun. And then what we need to contemplate with the chariot. So, I feel like temperance is kind of bringing these energies together. I do feel like even though there's something we need to do and it's the devil, which typically to me is somewhat of a more negative energy, I feel like there's harmony and balance, and temperance is one of my favorite cards in the deck because it's finding the balance and bringing two things that feel like opposites together and making something new and beautiful out of that. So it may not be completely comfortable, but it'll be worth it. So let's pull like a clarifier for temperance and see if we can get some more information there. We have regret. So what do we need to know? Regret. Okay. This could be, a fear of the regret of, if you don't take an action, that you may regret it. We may miss the boat on something this week. Okay, so for the devil is something we need to do. The devil is kind of about bondage and feeling trapped and, letting things kind of overwhelm and giving your power away. So what do we need to know about the devil and what we need to do here this week with the devil as energy? Truth. So I feel like this is telling us we need to really look deep within ourselves and see why we're letting ourselves be trapped in this energy. And by being really real with ourselves and being mindful and speaking our truths, we'll be able to release ourselves from the devil. And it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. So let go of that idea, because the sun here, it is about illumination and confidence. But to me, it's a little bit like carefree, right? So we need to let go of the idea that doing this shadow work is going to be easy. There's steps that need to be taken that don't feel like it's going to be easy, but with some willpower, some grit, some determination, we're going to be able to succeed there. So let's see, the sun. What do we need to know more about the sun? Discontentment. I feel like there's some sort of facade that we have put up in front of us to hide the fact that something is really dragging us down. And we need to release this facade. So maybe the sun is the facade. And we need to be able to speak our truth and really look these energies in the eye and say, why are we feeling this discontentment? Why? What is really the underlying cause of this? We can't just ignore it and go about our day and hope it will go away. You have to put the work in in order to be able to find the best outcome. And maybe, this discontentment is some energy that we're bringing to a situation. Maybe it's energies others are bringing to a situation that we find ourselves in. But if we don't do this work, I feel like it's going to be very painful, and we may live to regret it, or at least regret in the future that we didn't do it soon enough. And so we have the Chariot here and what we need to contemplate. And, the Chariot is about, things continuing to move forward. It's a card of movement, moving forward despite effort. So thinking of, if you stay in this energy, keep the facade up, don't deal with the devil that's holding you back, things are going to keep moving forward. You're going to keep feeling this discontentment. It's going to continue to be there. So do you want to just, give life the reins and keep moving forward, ignoring this energy? Or do you want to put in the work to actually figure things out? So let's see if we can get some more information on the Chariot. Oh, okay. I grabbed two. We have change and reflection, which I do feel like is very fitting for the Chariot and something you need to contemplate. Are you afraid of the status quo and afraid of change? You're comfortable with the status quo. If so, that's something that you do need to sit and reflect on and work with that energy and find out why. Maybe it is something that you need to speak to someone about. Maybe you feel like, this overall energy for the week. Oh, it's too busy this week to take time to deal with this energy. But reflect on why you feel like it's too busy. If this week is too busy, what about next week or the week after that? Time is still going to keep marching on, and you're still going to feel this discontentment, still feel trapped. And so the longer you take to deal with whatever issue is at hand, the longer it's going to take to be able to get to this place of harmony. And I feel like that is the energy of this week, to take a moment, reflect, what work do you need to put in? Don't ignore the big picture by being stuck in the day-to-day aspects of it. If you're busy at work, where are the 5 minutes that you can take to pause and reflect in order to get through this energy that, on a deep underlying level feels like an unhappiness we need to work through. So let's get a general message for us to carry with us this week. I feel like this is a lot. What can we focus on this week and carry with us? Let go of the past. It is time to envision a new story. So maybe there are stories that we've been telling ourselves that we can't get to this place of harmony and hope and balance. That's the devil holding us down. We need to do the work this week to write a new story and really take the time. You may feel like you're too busy, but don't let yourself be distracted this week. Let go of that past energy and take a step forward this week. All right, I think that's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I know I did. It feels like a lot of energy. I want to say thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon.